All right, season 17, episode 2 of the jumping. Wait, get that right. Gonna fast track there.
Strike that,
Season
reverse
2,
it.
season 2, episode 17 of the Jumping the Rail podcast. This is the Prodigy, Mark Redmond, coming to you from Champaign, Illinois, joined by my buddy Minderz. Minderz, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm a little tired. It's been a lot of wrestling this weekend.
It's a lot of wrestling this week. I was a little concerned. The last episode, as you know, we didn't have Gary with us. I checked on him and he sent me this picture back when I asked how he was doing. So I was a little
Oh
concerned.
no.
But the good news is, fresh off the injured reserve list, coming to us from Bismarck, the bearded dragon himself, Gary Vasilio. Gary, my friend, how are you doing?
Tired. And still sore,
Tired.
but
Not
as sore.
How's back?
Oh, it's attached.
I hope you get it's still attached. That's all you can really hope for. Hopefully you've got some cushioning on that chair.
Oh, it's not great, but it's there. So.
All right. Well, we'll try to take it easy on you. So, Gary, you missed the 10 bells for Bushwhacker Butch. As we know, we lost him the night before last, 78 years old, which you don't realize how old those guys are because they were basically a team for 40 years before they retired. But
yeah, they started back with like Piper in Oregon, right? Or
back in the 60s, it was. Well, they started in Australia, obviously. But I think they went to Stampede. Maybe they were the Kiwi sheep herders. Check out these handsome devils. Look at that.
Aww.
Gary, if you were going with us on Friday, then you and I would be doing the cosplay contest as these very sheep herders.
Hopefully we get to meet one of the sheep herders, but we'll see how he's handling it.
Luke is supposed to be there. Hopefully he'll be there. He seems like he's a gamer, so hopefully he'll be there. But yeah, if you're not, I mean, shoot. We talked about this a little bit when Jay Briscoe passed. He and Mark never really teamed up with anybody other than each other. The Bushwhackers are the same way times like 30, because the Briscoes were a team for about 20 years. Like I said, the Bushwhackers, between wrestling and appearances and all that, basically were joined at the hip for 50, which is just insane to me. And here we see, I think this is them in Calgary.
Aw.
You know, I love these guys. They were never the most handsome tag team. Not telling tales out of school there. Fun fact, these guys are actually my first ever wrestling autograph.
Really?
I did not meet them. My grandparents went somewhere. They used to travel a lot. And they were somewhere, and I guess the WWF must have been in town at the same place, and they got me and my brother both an autographed 8x10 of the Bushwhackers, and I wish I knew where it was to this day, because I was 9 years old when we got that. So I'm hoping my mom has it stored away somewhere and I can find it. So the Bushwhackers got a special place in my heart too. So it was a bummer, but I like them better as the sheep herders.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Gary, I'm sure you agree with me on that.
Hi. The Bushwhackers were kind of in my, like, we didn't, because we lived in Bismarck, we didn't get a whole lot of wrestling, and my mom really didn't like professional wrestling, so I kind of missed that section where they were big in WWE. I would see them do their like entrance, and then it wasn't until I was older that I got to actually go back, and they were always a lot of fun. Like, they were just never given. They were never given anything more than just a little bit. You know, it was like they were glorified enhancement, and they could have been a lot more. I mean, it's not like they were bad workers. They were just
no.
Their gimmick was it was an era of gimmicks, and they were just lived theirs. Like you know.
Of course, Dwayne.
Dwayne, I remember that also. Classic episode. With the sheep herders, well, the Bushwhackers, I think they went the way of a lot of those talent that Vince signed up that go along, like with, like, say, your Dusty Rhodes, you know, the they were big with the fans, but they were never really in his vision for being like top guys, you know.
Well, I
But
mean,
the Sheepherders also.
You kind of look at it the same way you did when AEW came along, and then all of a sudden he was snapping everybody up. And like anybody who had any kind of name, it was kind of what he did in the territory days when he was trying to kill the territories. If you had a name at all,
kill the territories.
Oh, he
was going national.
He didn't try to kill; he did kill. Like he was effective.
Very effective.
So much like he's trying to kill
too hard to play devil's advocate.
Much like he's trying to kill the product now, he's effective. He's still effective at things he does.
Plus, he's also very adept at tying ladies to railroad tracks these days.
I think my favorite one is the M. Bison Vince McMahon I've seen. The Raul Julia M. Bison where he had the small mustache.
Yeah.
From Street Fighter. Yeah, I think that's...
He's got the hat.
Yeah.
They had one that was... There was one of the McMahon family. It was like the Addams family, but they photoshopped all 5 of them into the Addams family. It was... Pugsley was off-putting. It was Shane.
I was going to say Uncle Fester had to be Trips.
Oh, yeah. Stephanie was Wednesday. AJ, yeah. That one's been going around too.
Was Vince's new girlfriend Morticia, or...
No, it was Linda.
Or his wife. I'm guessing the new girlfriend's the one that approved the new gimmick.
She might be Thing, if you know what I mean. Hey-o.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
But yeah, because you go from this, you got the Sheepherders. This is them with Jack Victory as their corner man, and this is right at the tail end of their run before they went to work for Vince. Not real different visually, but they were a lot more hardcore than they were with Vince. Obviously, the stuff they did with the Fantastics. A lot of the stuff I had to watch secondhand, but I remember seeing these guys in the PWIs when I was like in grade school before Vince signed them, and they would always talk about how fierce they were, how scary they were. So when the Bushwhackers showed up, I thought they were going to kill people. I thought we were going to get the Sheepherders, and then they started marching and licking and all that stuff. Oh, yep. The wife chimes in. I hate the McMustache, she says. But I love the term. I love the term McMustache, though.
Does Hamburglar have a mustache?
I don't think Hamburglar has a mustache.
Oh, well, he should.
Well, he's already got the mask and the hat and the cape.
Well, apparently
you can't make him the DDP of restaurant mascots. Putting every gimmick in the picture on.
Yeah. Apparently,
nope. Hamburglar did not have a mustache.
He didn't need to get those teeth fixed though.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can enjoy the cheeseburgers with 2 teeth.
But well, I guess the human version of him kind of did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Kind of.
I don't know. Just
no.
It's an all in one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and one of the saddest altogether. And I don't care enough about him as a person to care about it being sad, so the funny outweighs it. Like,
I'm with you. All right, which is cringier, the mustache or the just for men fall asleep dye job on his hair?
Oh my god! I think he did his eyebrows too, if I'm not mistaken.
He looks like he did.
Our good, I don't know if you guys know this. Our good buddy Daryl Heisey, debit card Daryl, that I played in the band with. Before a show, it was one of the CU Bands and Fans anniversary shows that we played Gary at the Food Event Center.
Yeah.
The day before the show, he put the Just for Men in the mustache. He has like a salt and pepper mustache, and he fell asleep with it in there. And when he showed up for the show, it was like a rich mocha color. And this is a 60-some-year-old man. So he got a little bit of attention for that one, and we still joke with him about it to this day. Every time I toy with the idea of coloring in the beard, my wife just has to remind me, think of Daryl, and I do.
Well,
then I don't.
If the McMahon genetics are on track, Shane just tore his quad doing nothing, basically. So, that's on track with Dad. So eventually, when Shane's like almost 80 years old, we can expect this. Is this?
It'll be jet black hair and
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Him trying
poor
to
Shane.
dance still.
Fans chant. The fans chant, "You still got it." And a minute 37 later, he tears his quad, and
It was you still got. Okay.
it's like, "You still got it." Oh,
you still got half a quad. Hey, I can
at
make
least
fun
he
of
only
quad.
tore one, like Vince.
Yeah, I've torn my quad before. I can make fun of you. Not all the way, but I've torn it.
I've never torn the quad. I've had enough knee surgeries for a lifetime, but yeah, it's kind of like the McMahon genetics. Somebody's got to tear a quad at least once.
Well, even McMahon family adjacent genetics, like Triple H's children don't have a chance. Like they're going to be like Mr. They're going to be Mr. Glass from like.
I'm more worried about Shane's sons than Triple H's daughters. It might just be the McMahon male genetics.
Oh my God!
We'll just have to see.
At this point, we've seen enough that we should probably just like keep guards around them, just to find out what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because you can't just let them go on their own volition. I mean, time and time again, they proved that just ends poorly for everybody.
Well. Yeah.
They don't just make bad decisions for themselves. They like to spread that around.
They spread the wealth. So, on that topic, we got a lot of wrestling over the weekend. Honestly, I didn't watch a fraction of what was out there. I usually try to watch some of the stuff from the collective GCW. I didn't get to any of it yet. I'm going to try and get to a few of those over during the rest of the week. But most of the viewing was the WWE stuff. Obviously, you got your Hall of Fame, you got NXT, you got WrestleMania, you got Raw after Mania. So there was quite a bit going on. First things first, I'll just ask overall impressions of WrestleMania. Minderz, we'll start with you.
It was a lot better than it has been in the past. A lot better than probably the last 3 years.
I agree with that.
In fact, night 1 to me was better than night 2.
See, I agree with that. Gary,
I think night 1 was good. Raw sucked.
Oh yeah, Raw was horrible.
Now wait.
Raw was bad.
Raw was okay. I expected better for a Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
Well, from what everybody's understanding, Triple H wasn't in charge of that whole debacle.
Now that's just that's rumors. We don't know that for sure.
Yeah,
it's likely. It's likely, but we're just going by dirt sheets here, so you can only.
It's so dumb, but like the night 1 of Mania. I mean, just alone the Usos and Sammy and Owens. Mm-hmm. Although I will preface the entire Mania, and you always know what's going to happen, like at the major pay-per-views especially. I am tired of people like kicking out of every finish. Like you got to kill a finish a match. Like that's just it's in the contract. It's just so I'm killing your finish this time. No, I'm killing your finish this time. Oh, okay, yeah. So, but the Charlotte versus Rhea match. Even though, like, I don't even call it a botch. I think Charlotte was trying to land on her feet and just couldn't rotate and landed on her nose. And her continuing, like, man, that was a scary bump. But, like, it was just under rotation, basically. But the rest of that match was told an absolutely incredible story. Psychology involved. They sold. The ending made sense. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to do an avalanche. I'm going to put you up here. No, and Charlotte took a very nice bump onto the post, sold it like she was dead.
Oh yeah,
and it was great. The Usos versus Sammy and Owens, like Sami Zayn looked like he was half dead half the match. It told a great story. And was night 1 Dom versus Ray?
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that match too, because it was what it needed to be. It was Ray getting his revenge. I liked the spanking him with the belt, the water to the face.
The chancla.
Yeah.
Oh,
AJ.
Mark, I wish you could have been there when AJ saw that happen. I've never seen anyone pop so much in my entire life.
My only
it was funny.
I would have had Dom go over in that match. I would have had him do something like rip his mask off and then roll him up or something. Because but there's room for more here.
I think that was one of the few matches that they got completely right. But like night 2 had I know what they're doing. They set up with Rhea coming in the ring, and we talked about it, and he was right. They're probably going to do a unification match, and I don't know what their big thing with unification is now. I don't know if UFC is already saying, hey, we need to do some stuff. But I know the television networks that they work with, that pay them all the money that they make, basically, are wanting champions on their TV. Right. And Roman is sure not doing that. I think the tag titles are going to be on TV more now. But Roman doesn't show up only like once a month. And then he's phoning from home. And
right.
So the whole, but like the crowd kind of told you at Mania that they're not vibing with Bianca anymore as a face champion.
Yeah.
And Bianca is an amazing heel. Like she was an amazing heel in NXT. Like because the cockiness like just lends itself to that more than being a face. Because you can only be so cocky as a face, because then you're not a face anymore. And Asuka right now is as hot as she's ever been. She's working better than she's ever worked. The crowd is definitely on her side. And I don't understand. I guess if you want to unify the titles, but you could unify the titles with anybody. Like if you have Bianca versus Rhea, and Rhea's your heel and Bianca's your face, Rhea is going to get cheered at this point right now.
Yeah. Rhea's going to be the baby face in this.
If you had that match now or in 3 months, either way, because Rhea's going to be more over in 3 months. I almost guarantee it. People love her because she's really good. Like her mic work went through the roof. Her personality is through the roof. The whole thing with Dom is hilarious. Yeah. She's going to break away from Judgment Day. She's going to be her own thing. And they've baby-faced Bianca so much that she's got nothing. She just goes out there and she's strong. Like she's super athletic and strong, but like in her matches, she doesn't show anything but that. And that's what was like her match with Asuka was great. Because it showed two distinct styles of wrestling, and Asuka was working submissions and she was working strikes. And as long as Bianca's got a good partner, she'll be fine. But eventually the whole strength thing wears thin, unless you're being a heel and whipping people with your hair and being a little dirty with it. Then that adds some new shine to it. So I think she should have probably lost at Mania. If not lost, I think she should have had like a mini heel turn there where she kind of goes over a little dirty. And doesn't have to be completely, but just kind of shows it there, because that protects Asuka, because all they've done since they took her streak away is just made her look. She's like a mini Big Show. Like they'll push. Everybody loves her again, and then it's dead. And then Charlotte beats her, and then this person beats her, and then all of a sudden she's not winning anything. And then she takes the tag titles and elevates them with Kairi and makes great character work, even though she doesn't speak English on camera. Like she gets over no matter what. And it's just, no, it doesn't matter. And then, of course, like I know some people say the whole Cody not winning thing is okay because it just sets up for more strife, but I think this is a
That's me.
classic case. I think it's a classic case though of WWE looking at a situation that is organic. Like the whole his comeback story, they didn't do that. He did that. The fans got behind him when he came back. They weren't behind him in AEW. Comes back to WWE. They are all over him. Everybody loves him. They were completely into the promos. They were completely into the story. And the only thing you can add is him being physically beaten. He's already been verbally beaten. They've drug his dad's name through the mud. They drug his family's name through the mud. They drug his intestinal fortitude through the mud already in great promo work. And then it's like, well, we wanted him to go through Lesnar. It's like, well, you can go through Lesnar after he beats Reigns. I just think it was enough already. I don't think you had to add more to it. So I know Mark thinks it's going to be SummerSlam. I hope it is, but because I know some people aren't sick of the bloodline, but good Lord, it needs. You can only beat a horse so long before it dies. It's just
Yeah. Oh, well, you're not gonna like this. I'm actually kind of thinking it might be WrestleMania now, not SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Gary, I know you don't listen to Busted Open. I mean, you don't have the opportunity to. Just
no.
I have a
It sounds
Bluetooth
like
in my ear walking around. So Bully Ray went into this a lot, talking about Cody and Roman, because Dave Lickrack about blew a gasket because Cody lost because he's nuts. Uh, but Bully laid it out this way, and what he said is that Cody needs to struggle on television. The torn pec is different. That's something that happened and he went away, but he hasn't really had issues like on TV. He hadn't lost a match yet. He really hadn't really been tested outside of Rollins before he came back. They had him win the Rumble at 30, which if it was me, and I said this on this show, he should have come in at number 1 if he was going to win the Rumble. Really,
1 or 2.
make him do the work. Yeah, him and Gunther should have been 1 and 2 in either order, and then still end it with Cody eliminating Gunther last. That would have been a-okay with me. But with the match, they needed to show Cody working his way back up because 9 times out of 10, the story is the babyface chasing the heel champion. That was, I mean, I hate to evoke it. That was Dusty's thing for years, chasing Flair, chasing Harley. And with Cody, he took himself out of the world title picture so fast in AEW that he never had to do that with them. He just made up a TNT title and said, "I'll just hold this and I'll be fine." Over here in WWE, he has to work his way up. Whether it's, and with Bully, he laid it out where the ass kicking he got from Brock, which we'll get into, was the first time that he felt sympathy for Cody since he's been back. Like in story, not losing the time with the peg. So I kind of agree with him that you want to invest in Cody, but if he keeps winning all the time, people are going to turn on him. They're going to lose. He's just going to go back to how he was in AEW when they started booing him because he was winning all the time. So the best thing that could happen to him is getting obliterated by Lesnar. Maybe have a match with Lesnar. Maybe I'd say have 4 matches with Lesnar. Have him lose every time until the last one. And then by then, maybe that gets you to SummerSlam. And then he has to go through maybe Solo, maybe go through the Usos, whatever. And then I have him winning Money in the Bank. I've got him winning the ladder match, holding on to that, and then using that to get his title shot the next time. I don't have him winning another Rumble. But I don't know. That's just my way of thinking. Yes, Dwayne, I know you're over the bloodline. It's the wife. Don't. Now, see, the thing to remember, Brock still can't challenge Roman for the title. He lost that at SummerSlam. Unless he makes a deal with Heyman, which is a theory a lot of people have about last night, that maybe Heyman cut a deal with him to wipe out Cody. I don't think that's the case. But we have.
I don't know though, Mark. There's a possibility of that because remember
It's
Roman
definitely
did ask. He did ask Paul. He said, "Did you know Brock was going to be here?" And he said, "No. This is usually when he goes and takes his 4 months off." So I don't know.
Yeah, he kind of danced
like
around the question. That's for sure.
I did like the way Foley came back and was looked at what I just started listening to Busted Open. So who was the one that was losing their crap?
Dave LaGreca. He's the host. Like the guy started the show. When he was
losing her, Billy's like, Bully goes, "I got one question for you when we come back." Blah blah blah. He's like, "How would Dusty have booked it?"
That's
and
it.
I was like, "Damn."
Well, Dusty would have booked himself taking down the top in the company.
No, he would have booked himself pinning Roman, and then the next night the referee would come out and say, "Oh yeah, he didn't win the title. It was disqualification."
Yeah.
Classic Dusty. My wife, I love her. Is Dave the whiny one? Yes, he is.
Yes.
He is the whiny one.
I mean, I know most fans. I know most fans will eat it up because it's Brock, but I'm just as sick of Brock Lesnar as I am Roman Reigns. You know why? Because they do the same thing every match. Roman has some character to him now, but when Brock gets in the ring, it's German suplex. If you're lucky and he's feeling froggy, you get a belly to belly. And that's about it. And then he might finish you with a key lock if they're going for an arm gimmick. But most of the time, it's just, hey, I'm Brock Lesnar. I just come in here and throw people around because I used to be the top guy. Like,
well,
it's so upsetting to me that there are dudes there. You cannot tell me. I know he's strong. He's a freak of nature. But you can't tell me Drew McIntyre's not as strong or close. You can't tell me that Big E wasn't. I've seen Big E work out. Big E is a strong dude. And they made him look weak in the ring with Lesnar. And that's dumb. Big E was a college football player. He's got a wrestling. I mean, he's been wrestling for years. Like, they used to put him in the ring with Big Show. Like, I know that's it's just been dumb for a long time. I understand that he looks like a freak of nature and he's got a giant back, but he's also like closing in on 50 years old.
Well, I'm just not that old, is he?
He's got to be.
I'm checking that. Continue.
I said closing in, so he's in his 40s.
Oh yeah, he's in his 40s.
He's at least my age. At least
he is. Brock Lesnar is 45.
So he's older than I am.
45 years old, comes in part-time, just suplexes people. He's hurt Lashley on multiple occasions. Last night, one of those Germans dumped Cody right on one shoulder, just like he separated Lashley's shoulder. So you're having Cody, the guy that you're booking basically to win Mania next year, against a guy who doesn't care about his opponent half the time. It seems like a silly decision.
It
seems like it seems like a silly decision to employ him at all. Because I know fans would miss him for a hot second, but after a while, nobody would even remember. He doesn't. No. He's an attraction.
He is an attraction.
If you had him once or twice a year,
was what it was.
I didn't even see that, to be honest. I missed it.
Sure. I didn't either. But we had a bet.
If you blinked for 4 minutes and 55 seconds, then you missed it. You talked about Roman has more character. Brock clearly has debuted a new character because he has basically become Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
Which is a joke my wife came up with yesterday. She just said he went all Cocaine Bear on Cody with throwing around. And I likened him more to one of the saltwater crocodiles at Australia Zoo when you watched the Irwins and they had to tackle the crocodile. And when all the agents came around the ring and Brock was walking, then all of a sudden he runs back. That's what a freaking crocodile does, and everybody scatters and runs for their lives. We call him a crocodile.
Might as well just bring back Goldberg now.
Please no.
Just have, Goldberg, and we'll have DDP come back for another match, and then, let's unretire Ric Flair. Let's just get it over with.
I hear they're mad
There's
at
just
Ric
talk
Flair
for
again.
that. Oh, are they mad at him again?
I imagine.
Yeah, they're mad at Rick again. I guess he made the Muda speech a little too much about himself at the Hall of Fame.
Well,
Just putting himself over,
you,
and they didn't
so
care for that.
you ask Ric Flair to make a speech in public, and then you get mad at him for being Ric Flair. That seems like a you problem and not a him problem.
I think Muda asked for Flair to be fair. But yeah, even so, you got to talk to him. He's like, yeah, that might not be a good idea. Let's get Asuka up there with the translator, and
or Shinsuke. Shinsuke was one of the last matches he ever worked.
Where was Shinsuke this weekend?
He was there. He was in attendance for the Hall of Fame.
Was
he wasn't booked on the show.
I saw pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he must be hurt. Well, I don't know, because he fought Muda not too long ago.
Yeah, so, it was his last Noah match, I think, was Nakamura.
Into January or so.
January or February.
If I were Shinsuke Nakamura, I would be every day. I'd have a watch, and on my watch, I would have it ring as soon as the new day dawned, and then I would mark it off as one day closer to going back and ruling Japan. Because if he signs another contract with WWE, unless he just loves being in America and he's making a ton of money for some reason, they're not doing anything with him. And he's an incredible worker, and he was every bit, even I would say more popular than Okada when he left. Definitely. He made that secondary title. The fans voted it more important, because when they voted for the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, they voted Shinsuke in.
Yeah, so Tanahashi.
And if he goes back there, it's going to be all over. They'll give him. I can't imagine they wouldn't try to give him just enough to go back home and be back in New Japan. WWE won't know what they lost, but I'm sure they almost lost Io, and I don't know what they're going to do with her. Io's fantastic, not doing anything. She's tagging, like Asuka, fantastic, and she's had the belt a few times. But there's a bunch of fantastic women that they're not doing anything with, and that was shown in great clarity at WrestleMania. Speaking of women, I heard Bayley walked out again.
I didn't hear she walked out. I heard they cut her from the show.
Yeah, but
I didn't know that she walked out.
I don't know. There was a rumor.
It is WrestleMania time. Every other WrestleMania, she has to take a hike.
That's the rumor. It could be wrong, but I don't know why they would cut her from the show if something hadn't happened. Because I could see her getting. I don't know when her deal's up, but if I were her, I would just be like, you know what, fire me. I will go somewhere.
They won't fire her because she'll go to AEW.
Yeah,
but she'd probably go to New Japan. Go back with Sasha.
Yeah,
I would say I could see her going back to New Japan to be with Sasha. Yeah. I did see something though earlier today about Bayley commenting, because there were a bunch of the women that made comments about the creative and stuff from over the weekend. Bianca, Asuka, Bayley, Ronda. Not that anybody cares about Ronda anymore, but
what were they saying? Was it changed or something? Or?
It was. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, if my suspicion is correct, I would know why it was changed.
Because of a dimple-chinned, mustachioed,
probably
self-described Lothario.
A roustabout.
A roustabout, yes. The Snidely Whiplash of WWE.
Yes. He was the villain for who was the Canadian, right? The Mountie guy.
Right.
Dudley Do
Yeah,
Right.
Dudley Do
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
I
he should have
miss
grown that mustache when the Quebecers were around.
I miss Rocky and Bullwinkle every day of my life.
Yes.
Bailey had posted, and sometimes the most romantic love story comes to an end. And then couple spaces, bye.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, I didn't see anything with Bianca or anybody talking. I know
Bianca's
Asuka
winning.
said she was
Bianca-
disappointed.
Here it is. Okay, so Asuka posted, I might as well go back to Japan, but I bet a lot of you
I saw
guys
this
and
one.
my friends will miss me when I leave WWE. Now, I need the power of your anger. Let's bring chaos to the boring women's division with me. Let's bring chaos to the women's division. Let's bring chaos to the WWE.
I think that's a lot of like the Kana character
That's a lot of
work,
working.
maybe, but
Yeah.
I can see frustration too because
Then
Yeah.
Bianca said, after she done played in my face tonight, I'm not trying to tag team with this girl. WWE Asuka, I don't want your support. I want your competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rhonda said, women wrestled for just 2 minutes of last Friday's 2-hour show. I think it's supposed to be satisfied, but she doesn't know how to spell. You may be satisfied living off the crumbs we're thrown out, but I'm not. By the way, I was there last night in good old, and that's all it says. That one cracks me up just because of how satisfied is spelled.
No.
SATIAT.
That's satiated, Minderz. Satiated. That is a word.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's all good. I won't tell Dallas.
Sated.
I
So,
was
yeah.
wrong.
No, they were Sataned by Vince. They were Sataned.
But it says, by the way, I was there last night in good old, and then it just cuts off.
Yeah. Well,
Like it doesn't continue. I was like, what in the world?
So
no.
we're out of characters or something.
I don't know.
Maybe there was a part. Maybe there was a part 2 to that nobody can find.
I Mania was great for, although the men, see, that's the thing, like the men's big schmoz of a tag team was much better than the women's.
Agreed.
And Chad Gable doing the rolling German to Braun was absolutely insane. That dude is so good, so strong. He has done everything they've ever asked him to. There is no reason in any world, like any reality of any world, that he shouldn't have some sort of title, because he could carry it. Whatever you needed to carry it, create a title for him. I don't care, but like,
send him to NXT. Put him with Carmelo.
Yeah,
There you
do
go.
something. Do something
That'd be a
with
hell
him.
of a match, to be honest with you.
It would be.
But it kind of, like, Mania always kind of highlights, because there's so many matches. You're like, oh yeah, there are all these people, and you finally find a home for them because you have 7 hours of programming to fill. So you got to use everybody. But you also have 5 hours a week where half these people do nothing. Like Mustafa Ali got one shot and got hurt, and he's never been put in any kind of position to succeed again. And he's an amazing worker.
I think they're afraid of him getting hurt again. I think that's what it has to be.
Well, yeah, but
so
I don't know. I guess it's. I guess that's my gripe with the entire industry is you have so many people.
Oh, Dwayne.
And I think it's because there are no jobbers. There are no jobbers anymore. They're all people that somehow you expect them to win, and you know they're good. Like Dolph Ziggler, why would you do that to him? Like that dude is insanely good at pretty much everything you can be good at as a wrestler, and yet hasn't won in like a year. Mustafa Ali's heading down that road. You got guys in AEW, though, it's the same thing.
Don't get us started on AEW.
Yeah, please no, not tonight.
Yeah, the dumbest bump of all time.
We're talking about our buddy Dante.
So you're talking about Dante?
He just lost an ankle. He could have lost his life. Like
Mhm.
his neck was in a very precarious position. Like if his foot wouldn't have hit, he may have broken his neck. That was the
Oh, easily.
stupidest thing I've ever seen, and that was sanctioned. That was
Yeah.
somebody
It's
said, "Yeah, that spot looks like a good idea." That
somebody, eh?
yeah, yes,
Yes,
yeah.
that guy.
If there was a
Uh,
happy balance somewhere between Triple H and Tony Khan, he would be the perfect wrestling booker.
that would be
Like,
Scott
just,
D'Amore.
well, no,
Impact.
Impact's not got
Cross the
horrible
line.
booking. Like the top of their card's booked pretty well. The bottom of their card is just like some sort of carnival sideshow. Like it's just this odd
Well, just
wasteland
because you
of
got
like
Crazy Steve and
misfit
Rosemary.
toys.
At least it's not the Misfits in action, am I right?
Oh, geez.
Oy,
Let's not go there.
oy
They're
vey.
not on our top 10 list this week, but oh boy, we talked about them a little
Although,
bit last time.
speaking of the misfits in action, the LWO is back, and it makes me very excited.
Yes. I was very happy to see that. I loved the LWO back in the day. Kind of handcuffs the cruiserweight division with all the luchadors being in a faction together, but you know.
Yeah.
Did anybody else absolutely love Ray's entrance, though?
Oh,
I
it was-
loved Ray's
I
entrance.
loved
it was
Ray's entrance.
incredible.
I think I liked Dom's entrance better. With the
Ray's was more sentimental for me. I teared
it
up.
was, yeah, but Dom it's just the ridiculousness of it.
It is, yeah. That match was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Dom can
Yeah.
work. I just think he has to have the right person still,
Yeah,
and he
He's
should hit
getting
a
in there
weight.
though.
he's
Like,
getting there.
He should look
I
at
was
weights.
hoping. Yeah.
Be in the
I was
vicinity
hoping
of weights.
when he got when he came out and he had that mask on, I was hoping he was going to wrestle with the mask because he actually looked cool with that mask on.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was too.
Yeah. Well, I thought that would be awesome that he basically just stole his father to steal his dad's identity. That would have been the icing on the cake. Just start wrestling in Ray's mask just to spite him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he wins that or not. Like if you start wrestling in a hood, like exactly like your dad's, or like you make like an evil version of your dad's mask and you start working it, that would be just because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would just be icing on the cake.
Yeah. Well, that's lucha tradition is you don't get a mask until you earn it. And that would be the ultimate heel shit for Dom to just walk around wearing a mask that he wasn't given yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting for the hair versus mask match.
I don't think we're going to get it, Reb.
I think we're going to eventually. That's how I would have booked the finish at WrestleMania. I would have had Dom rip Ray's mask off and roll him up for a pin.
Yeah, I knew you said that.
That way Dom gets his heat. And
well, now we're going to get Dom versus freaking Bad Bunny.
Hey, Bunny can work. He
you
didn't
like
take that
Bad
choke slam particularly great.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that like Bad Bunny.
I know. I'm in the minority on this one, and that's fine.
You're the minority.
I'm just hoping that somehow Tony Atlas makes it back to Puerto Rico.
Oh, Tony Atlas. He won't go back to Puerto Rico.
Finally gets his revenge.
Is Invader number 3 still down there?
I don't. I would imagine. Like, because Tony is so positive of everything. But man, like,
especially feet.
I don't know. Just say, let's just say Rick won't make it down to that one, probably. Rick is not a fan of Puerto Rico anymore.
Yeah. So let's see. What else do we have?
Hey, maybe we'll get a Dutch Mantel sighting in Puerto Rico.
There you go.
What did you think of Ray's mask? I liked the nod to Muda with his look over the weekend.
Very much.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bike helmet with the Magneto face.
Well, he had the Flash gear going too, so I think it might have been like for the Flash movie type.
That too.
But yeah, he had the Muda.
I know, but Conan was the best.
He was so good.
He was so good.
Yeah,
so good. Not that Mick wasn't bad either, but it was for
Mick was
legs.
all right.
So he was all right.
Yeah, Hey, Dwayne has a question here. Do you think Austin Theroy beating John Cena helped him? Uh,
Who's Theroy?
yeah, Austin Theory. You
Theory.
know, when the fingers get going and all the excitement, typos happen. No shame.
I I
Yes,
think
I do think it.
I don't know. I think Cena, even though he was being cavalier about it, wasn't completely wrong how Theory was in a no-win situation. Because I don't think it helped him be any more of a heel, because he's already a pretty big heel, and I don't think Cena winning that match didn't matter either. I don't
No.
think that match mattered. I just it doesn't change my opinion of Theory one way or the other. I think he's better. Because this is another classic Basilio. Don't get me wrong. He is much better since Trips took over, because somebody's told him work on your talking, and he has, and it's much better. And his
Yeah,
character work has been much
yeah,
better. His in-ring work was always solid. Like, he was
Yeah.
always a
yeah.
good worker. His body's great. His look is great. His music's still dumb, but we can't have
Yeah.
perfection.
Do
It's just
do
so I don't
do
know
people
what
in
you
Atlanta?
do. I don't know what you do with him, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be two heavyweight straps anytime soon. And Gunther is locked down one belt. He's locked down another. And so after he loses that title, where does he go?
Hmm,
I don't
He's
know. I
going to
think
I don't know.
be,
Theory could tell a story though without a belt if you can get Vince out of creative.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
He's like Seth. If they can tell a story without a belt, they don't have to have a belt in order to tell a story, and you care.
I want some I need some long term, like the Sammy stuff was long term, but I mean you have so many people. You could tell so many long term stories. And you could use all your programming to tell these stories, and you could use vignettes one week. You don't have to have Mark. Well, we've talked about this. I don't know if Mindy was on the show with us when we were talking about it, but I don't need to see everybody wrestle every week.
no.
I don't have to. In fact, it would be better not to.
Yeah.
Absence does make the heart grow fonder. Like, when you finally get to see somebody work, like if you're seeing them work twice a month, and if they're on TV, and they'll be on the house show circuit, but I don't have to see Seth Rollins work every week.
Mm-mm.
If you're holding a title, I would like to see you work more. In my opinion, it's always been my opinion. I always like a fighting champion better. Plus, you're on
Sure.
top. That's your job. And if you're not, you need to be not just open challenging people. I want a hierarchy of people that I I want an actual like system somewhere that would be helpful. But yeah, I don't
The
need to
old
see Seth
WCW top
wrestle every
10.
week. Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
don't.
be surprised if Johnny Gargano ends up going after Theory,
Yeah, that's a good story. I mean, that's had a lot of
Yeah,
build up.
or
that's long
after
term
what happened
storytelling.
this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if Grayson Waller doesn't come up and they continue the story,
Yeah,
because Grayson Waller is not one to get beat and not want to get
No,
another one up on you.
he has to.
Yeah,
He's got to get the last word in.
yeah.
Uh,
and
yeah, I
Waller's
definitely see that happening.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I
and
I
everything.
don't know. Waller is fantastic. Yeah, at everything. Like, he's got the same reason I like MJF is the same reason I like Waller, because he's like, oh, I'm a heel. You know how I'm a heel? Because I act like a heel. And I
Mhm.
act like a dirty, cheap heel. I'm cocky, I'm brash. And then when you see me, I'm still acting like a heel. He never turns it off. And
No,
I think they're probably both like I'm sure they have friends, but like, and I'm sure like Max isn't Max all the time. There's no way that guy would be anywhere in wrestling if he were that way, literally that way backstage. Absolutely no way he would be in the business still. And so it's even more impressive because they're both just great heels. Because if you knew that guy, you wouldn't hang out with that guy. You're not supposed to like heels. You're not supposed to like them.
Whoops.
No, you're allowed to love heels.
I can
But you
love
can't-
heels.
you're not supposed to
Okay,
like
cool.
heels.
Yeah, it's supposed to like them. Like if somebody were treating you like that in real life, like every time you spoke with them, if they were just degrading you and running you down and calling you stupid, you're like, yeah, I don't want to hang out with that person anymore. Like, why does anybody like this guy? You start asking questions about why is he even here? Like,
I'm
but-
just excited. I get to meet MJF Friday, so I'm all happy and giddy and everything about that. So
May the gods have mercy on you.
hey, I have a plan on how to get on his good side where he doesn't completely roast me. I have a plan. Wearing my Jim Cornette shirt to get my picture taken with him. I have a plan.
There was a lot of corny quotes on Dynamite the last couple weeks.
I have been.
Mostly involving the names.
Yes. Yes. I love it. What, Dino Douche? I
BBC.
love Dino Douche.
Yeah. Marco Stunted Growth.
Yeah, Marco
Classic.
Stunted Growth. Although that's not what Corny calls him. Mark Dongsucker. Yep, love it. All right, let's move on. What else happened on WrestleMania?
I want to talk about the Hell in a Cell match, night 2. You didn't see it because of the paint, but old Finn got laid open pretty good on top of his head.
Oh, that was
Now,
nasty.
if our viewers are squeamish, no, it was done by a ladder. But if our viewers are squeamish, look away. This is the look of after the match. That's not good.
No.
They gave him staples ringside.
They stapled him and gave him a numbing agent in the ring to get him through the match. In the ring. Which is insane to think. He's a tough motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Tough Irish bastard, as they say.
Yes.
That's
very tough.
And he got his hands up. It just was a freak.
Yeah.
I'm going to say freak accident, but you're getting a ladder thrown at you, so like, it's not an accident. It's just it's an unfortunate occurrence.
It's a mishap. We'll call it a mishap.
Mark, you'll wonder why I hate ladder matches.
Hey, I don't like them either.
I've grown so tired of ladder matches.
I don't mind ladder matches if they're done well.
After TLC 2, I really checked out on ladder matches because that was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're done well, I don't mind them.
14 staples. Okay.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Overall, how aside from the blood and the ladder and everything, how did you feel about the match? We were kind of bummed about the opening, the entrances. We didn't get our Brood entrance.
We didn't.
That was the rumor go around, Gary.
Yeah. That's what I was looking. I was looking for Christian and Gangrel. What I was hoping for was the Judgment Day to show up, try to get into the ring, and then the Brood pop up.
I kind of thought when all that went down with Finn that would be what would happen. I was waiting for it. Like,
and then
I figured,
they fight.
Here they come. Yeah.
Even if they just fight to the back, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. I would have been fine with it.
Let Gangrel fight Dom because I don't know if he could hang with Priest in a fight.
No.
Well, Dave, from what I understand, Dave's got some hammocks, while Christian has the rubber mallets.
I did like that Edge came out with Slayer at the start of his entrance before the Metalingus started up, but ordinarily that wouldn't happen.
No.
I think my cat is hissing at my other cat back there. Knock it off.
Stop it, Noodles.
Well, no, it'd be Pretty Bee, the one hissing.
Oh, okay.
She gets a little contrary with her sister.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
But
so
I didn't hate that match.
I didn't hate it, but it seemed, and I understand you don't have like all the time in the world, but it seemed kind of like Edge got put through that table and then the table fell on him, which looked nasty, but no more than just like it seemed like half a minute later he was up and raring to go.
Mhm.
And like Finn kind of had the demon thing on his side, but it just seemed the pace seemed kind of pushed to the extreme. Like at the end of the match, I don't know how much more that they actually had, because like I'm sure Edge knew how bad Finn was hurt, and they were just like,
Yeah.
hey, we need to get this done. But yeah, it was. I've seen better. I've seen worse. I mean, I've seen Boss Man in a Hell in a Cell, so
you've seen Vince McMahon in a Hell in a Cell
Yeah.
when they stuck his head up Big Show's butt.
Okay, but
And
can we
that's probably
talk
his
about
idea.
Snoop Dogg?
That'll be great, pal.
We need to talk about Snoop Dogg doing the people's elbow.
Let's
'cause that
talk
was
about Snoop Dogg.
hilarious.
The dog father of WrestleMania. Poor Miz. I feel so bad
Like-
for the Miz. He
Miz.
kind of got a raw deal.
I haven't seen somebody take a rope like that since David Flair. Like,
that was so fun, though.
it was the most straight-backed, non-rope hit I've ever seen. Like, David Flair was never able to hit a rope. And, of course, he was also just moved like he was a robot all the time. Like, I don't know how you get David Flair, and then Reed Flair was as good as he was before he passed, God rest his soul. And now Charlotte Flair is maybe the best women's wrestler to ever live. Like, if you take all of her accomplishments and, like, the things she can do in the ring, like, David, I don't know.
I don't think.
I'm guessing it's.
I don't think his heart was in it.
Genetics.
Maybe.
I don't know which mom it was.
He was the same one that was Conrad's mother-in-law. I forget her name. Not Beth, but
they all run together.
Beth is Reed and Charlotte's mom, so maybe Beth is the one that passed the genes on, because that was Charlotte and Reed's mom.
And I'm not sure which one I heard it on, if it was Busted Open Radio or if it was Cornet, because I listened to both today, and I'm about podcast out. But
hey.
No, not with ours. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, back to
because we got another one tomorrow, Missy.
I know. I'm excited about tomorrow. I got plans for tomorrow. But no, one of them had said something about how cool is it that Snoop Dogg was able, because it didn't look like anybody had filled him in on what was going on.
Bully said it.
Was it Bully? Was it Bully that said that?
I think he was supposed to do that at the end of the match. I think Miz was supposed to. I imagine he was going to low blow him, Shane, and win. And then Snoop was going to come in and do that. And so they kind of audibled. But yeah, like him coming in.
Snoop adjusted
really well. Because it didn't seem
well.
like anybody told Snoop what to do or what to, and apparently, they had it scheduled beforehand. But
nobody told him not to legit punch Miz right in the mouth on the second one either, apparently. Because
he just went full pimp on Miz.
He
went for his money.
The first one Miz rolled with it, why
you hit my hose?
Grazed him.
Yeah.
That second one though got him right in the jaw, like
a little stiffy.
I'm sure Miz has been hit harder.
He's
lost. He probably was taken by surprise.
Yeah, I'm sure he was like, "Oh, that's great."
Because Snoop is so laid back, and then just bam, Tyson,
And then he's like, "Oh, might as well do it again."
And then doing the people's elbow and throwing his glasses out instead of his arm.
Running the ropes like pockets.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Snoop's got to
see. Now you got me using.
60.
What's that?
Snoop's got to be closing in on 60.
Well, let's have a look.
So
Wikipedia, because they're never wrong.
Right. I'm on it. Snoop Dogg.
Let's see.
51.
Okay.
Oh, well, not quite.
That's all?
51, yeah.
Well, that's about right. It was about 20 when he popped out with the Chronic.
Yeah, I forgot how young he was.
Yeah.
Because Dre was a lot older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good audible. I think I think the match was supposed to last a little longer. I think Miz was supposed to actually win it and take like a shortcut, because that's why Snoop said what he said. Because Miz didn't take Shane out, but that was what
Shane took Shane out.
No, Shane took Shane out.
Shane screwed Shane.
Did you hear
I'm
Corny?
working on my.
Have you heard Corny yet about him
I
talking
haven't
about
heard the
Shane?
WrestleMania show yet. No.
Okay, I'll save it for you.
Okay.
It's
I've got
it's
the
really
experience queued up. I just haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I am
yeah.
working on my Shane 137 T-shirt in the vein of an Austin 316. But actually, it's more like an Owen 316 because the back says "I just tore my quad" instead of "I just broke your neck." So we'll see if I can
There
get
you go.
that. I don't know if I'll do that. I should send that to WWE. Say, hey, why don't you use this?
Yeah,
Get
because
your royalties.
they need more money, Mark.
They don't have all the money yet.
They're
I mean, Vince
closing
only
in on
made
it.
$9 billion in the last 24 hours on selling this company.
I think he personally will make, like they said, like something like 2.1 billion on the sale
Yeah, they said
because
Trips
of
is
the
getting
amount of
5
stock that
million.
he owed.
Yeah, Nick Khan's getting like a $15 million bonus.
Yeah, but I don't think
Leonard's
he'll have
getting
a
5
job
million.
after this. I think Nick will be
Well,
out
no,
of the
that's why they
company.
hired him, was to sell the company. Now the company sold.
Yeah, man,
I don't know enough about business or the details to really go too much into the sale of the company. It's a big deal. I was proud of my
it's
future endeavor joke yesterday.
it's the biggest case of like just a narcissist at the end of their lifespan. Like Vince has always been a narcissist. He's always bet on himself and he's won. Anybody else could look at his daughter and the son-in-law and look and just say, "You guys are doing a fantastic job. I raised you this way. You're doing the company proud. I'm going to let you continue running this company. I'm going to continue to have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. I'm almost 80 years old. I'm going to, leave this to whoever I want to leave it to or burn it or whatever." But no, on the way out, he can't do that. He just can't stop thinking he's the
Infallible?
best thing to ever walk. So
Well,
he is
I don't know.
burning. He's more happy burning everything down on his way out than he is handing it off. And I honestly, honest to God, it was a coup attempt by Stephanie and Triple H and Nick Khan, and they have covered it up well enough that he didn't figure it out. I'm sure they scapegoated somebody, but they tried. They tried their best to keep the company from being sold. They tried their best to say, if we give him enough time, he'll see that we could run the company without him. And he just wouldn't accept it. Like he literally barged his way back in, broke laws doing it, and sold the company. And now he's going to be executive chairman of WWE. And looks like he's going to take over creative again. And he just won't accept that he's not the best. And I can't see it killing the company, but this is also a situation he's getting himself into that he could be removed from his company because he doesn't
Especially
own
there's
51% anymore. If
no,
there's allegations again against him, you think
he's
that this
gone.
new partnership is going to just let him be executive chairman? No, they're going to fire him, and it's going to be hilarious.
Well, yeah, but doesn't he
And
get wasn't that part of the contract though too? He gets like 175% of his yearly salary or something like that, and he gets to keep.
I didn't see any
He
of
gets to
that.
keep He gets to keep all of his identity with Mr. McMahon and all that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
all
like,
the IP and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just astounding. Like it's just, I mean, I should have expected it, but it's
if only a
just
billionaire could get indicted for things these days.
Yeah, well,
Right.
it's hard to do. It's even harder to make it stick.
I love
Okay,
AJ.
I'm gonna post. You got to read this comment in Vince's voice.
Yes. Goddamn, pal.
Goddamn, pal, I fired these people for a reason, and now I have a road to my title picture. This isn't Jim Crockett, pal. I'm taking my company back before you run it in the ground.
You gotta love
Why-
AJ.
Why is
AJ
that Rhodes
is
kid? Why is that Rhodes kid not in polka dots?
hey, paint his face. Paint his face.
What wasn't he a
It's good TV,
star
pals.
guy?
What's that thing on his neck?
You know what, kid? You
What's
need a
that thing?
mustache.
What's I can imagine Vince is one of those guys that carries the tiny comb or brush around with him.
Oh, you know he
all day
does.
long.
Hey, I do.
All
I got
day
a beard.
long.
I got a beard comb. But yeah, I can see him just like neatly grooming it, twisting it.
You know what I want? I want him to have a Buff Bagwell like goatee where it's just pencil
Oh
thin.
no.
Oh,
No.
oh,
Nobody needs that.
I need that.
that would be that's really the end game here, Mark. Like he's
No, the
He's-
end game is Vince McMahon's cryogenically frozen head in a jar running the company.
right
Right?
next to Ted Williams.
He's he'll be Krang. You remember Krang from Ninja Turtles, the big robot body with the brain in it? That's gonna
Well,
be
you
Vince.
ever watch Futurama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be President Nixon. Just
There you go.
There you go. Yep, that'll work.
he'll just be running the company on a robotic body.
All right,
Talking
Mark.
about
I
Agnew.
From our Friday show, I was almost right on somebody interfering in Seth and Logan's match. I was almost
You
right.
almost. Yeah, I feel no shame for thinking that was truth in the bottle. I never
I
heard
don't
of
know,
friggin'
entrance-
KSI.
I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
I
who it
didn't.
was. I knew there would be somebody in there, but
It looked like our truth.
I thought at first it was going to be Seth in the bottle, and then he was going to attack Logan from behind.
Now,
Like
see, I
you-
had it pinned as Miz. I thought
Let's see.
Miz was going to be in the bottle.
Yeah. Dwayne, if Vince didn't buy WCW, do you think WCW would have survived? No. There was
No.
too much mismanagement, and they would have killed themselves without Vince.
Yeah,
So,
they were dead.
no question.
The
That's why Bischoff
only
should have bought the company.
The only thing is that Bischoff did have people lining up he was trying to line people up to buy. They were close, and Vince came in and bought it. It might
I
have
thought it was-
lasted a few more years, but
I thought they lost their TV rights. That
They
was
did.
why the sale
All they
didn't
had,
go
all they
through.
had was the video library and like the rings and the
Mhm.
IP, like the intellectual property of the wrestlers, and Vince bought all that. Which I don't
Yeah.
blame him for. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have our glorious peacock. You know.
The cock.
well, speaking of that, how long do you think it'll be till there is no more free pay-per-views? Because UFC is not a fan of free.
No, they don't
So,
like free. They said
They like $50
yesterday
pay-per-views.
as far as I know, there are no plans to change the streaming model right now. I don't know how long that'll last though. Hopefully it lasts because I don't like paying for things.
Well, we have
$5.99 a month is plenty for me.
We have
Yeah.
this glorious thing called the internet, Mark, and I'll send you a link.
Oh no, I know there are ways. There are ways.
Because I'm not paying
I've-
for Fight TV to watch AEW.
Oh, they
not
don't
gonna
have
do it.
AEW on Fight TV. You got to get Bleacher Report for AEW.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
AEW's Bleacher Report.
yeah, I'm not doing that either.
GCW is an impactor on Fight,
Oh,
but
yeah, I'm not watching their pay-per-views no matter what, so it doesn't.
So I want to get your take on this. And Minderz, I know you heard Corny talk about this, and we've been talking a lot more about Cornette the last few episodes, just randomly coming up because you got me listening to the experience again. Chris Jericho,
Oh
And
God.
and I want. Well, Dwayne says Peacock is free for him. That's because Dwayne doesn't pay to get the ads taken away.
Yeah, I don't
do
want
not
ads.
like ads. I don't want ads, so I've.
I don't want
So
ads.
two things about our buddy Jericho that Cornette kind of alluded to. I want to get Gary's take on this. Number one, the comments that Jericho made about how he invented singing along.
Cue my shirt.
It's
Gary
a
says. Yeah, he was going on about how nobody sang entrance music before Judas and all this stuff. It's like, come on.
Nobody sang like the whole song, but people sang along. Like people would pop along with it, and I think
Except Inner
Jericho
Sandman.
was the first one. I think he was the first one to like people sing it like word for word, and I'll give him
No, no.
that. Like,
Inner Sandman. When the Sandman came out,
yeah, I
those
guess, but
ECW fans.
I got so tired of just watching the Sandman hit himself with stuff that I would just kind of drown that all out. Like,
I
so
did like.
Sandy, what you're gonna do is you're gonna blow yourself up on your way to the ring. Then you're going to hit somebody with a cane. You're gonna
While
do a
pounding beers.
You're gonna do a Frankensander, and then a bad Russian leg sweep, and this is gonna be over.
No.
Like,
The White Russian leg sweep.
yes, the White Russian
Or
leg sweep.
alcohol. And the Rolling Rock, which is senton. But I did like that his version of Inner Sandman was the Motorhead version that he came out to.
Yeah.
Because I do love me my Motorhead. And the other thing, I don't know if you saw the video, Gary. PWG in Reseda, California, everybody's favorite indie. Minderz knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The Jericho Appreciation Society, or the Jericho Appreciators, as Jim Cornette calls them. And I don't even know who they were wrestling. It was like was it an 8-man or a 10-man tag, Minderz?
10-man, I believe.
10-man. And they went into this sequence where they were wrestling in slow motion.
Oh yeah.
Badly. And Jericho's in there, and he's getting in, he's uncoordinated and slow, and he was slow in slow motion, which is really saying something. And it just looked ridiculous. I'm sure Meltzer ate it up.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's killing the business, Gary. What do you think?
I don't think you can kill the business on the indies anymore. I think they do whatever they want to do, and they've done that for at least the last 10 years. But you looking back to even guys like what was it, the Human Tornado?
Oh,
Used
Tornado.
to do
Nice guy.
the dancing, and then he would kick somebody in the corner, then dance and kick somebody in the corner. And
Then
you had a bunch of comedy
Kicking the
spots,
balls.
and you know what? Like on the indies, you're paying your money, you're sitting in a hard steel chair. You want to be entertained at some point. Like you want to see wrestling, but at some point you're going to have some comedy. And if that's how they choose to do it, like I guess it's not my cup of tea always. Some of it I found pretty funny. Like I'm not a big fan of I was never a fan of Joey Ryan, like the penis lock, and then like everybody
few
being
people
in a
are.
chain because it's so dumb. It's just
that was
dumb.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it. I guess like I'm guessing PWG fans mark out for that, and so if you know your audience. It's not my thing. I don't want to see it on national television because
it's coming.
As
AEW.
As I've always said, and here's the reason I've always said psychology is still important and needs to be more important is you can't be beaten in people's heads enough. When you watch professional wrestling, what is if you're a novice, what is the main thing they're always going to say? Oh, this is fake, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have to do to bring new people into wrestling? You have to suspend their disbelief. You have to make your match interesting. You have to draw them into the physicality of it. So what are you going to do when that person's trying to be drawn in and suspend their disbelief, and then you have somebody moving in slow motion?
Oh, no. Here, hold on. I'll add to this because this also happened over the weekend.
Oh, the blow-up doll. Kenny Omega's greatest opponent.
Yeah.
Poor Pockets.
No, not Poor Pockets, because we're going to see this on AEW within the next month. I guarantee you.
I'm wrapping my head around the fact that Chris Daniels is actually selling that horseplay.
Isn't that terrible?
Well,
so bad.
Independent Wrestling Hall of Famer Christopher Daniels, by the way.
Well, he was also Curry Man. So Daniels has been known to be silly on occasion.
Sure, But
And
the King of
spicy.
Spice was also a great worker.
The Spice Rack.
He's hot. He's spicy. He tastes great.
I got to see him work in Danville. So
Nice.
at
At the
the
TNA show, right?
TNA show, I yelled Curry Ban Ichiban a lot. But no.
I think we need a Gary Man T-shirt. Take the Curry Man design, put Gary's face on it.
I think wrestling should be as close to actual combat sport, without being combat sport, just so it draws people in. It gives them at least the impression that something is real. You have to do that. Otherwise, that's how they've lost thousands of fans.
Well, according to the Corny Experience, they break down Dynamite and go into the ratings. They started Dynamite last Wednesday with 900,000 some people. By the end of the AEW All Access, they were down to 300,000 Minderz?
It was 338,000.
Yeah.
And that's over the same amount of time as Raw.
Right.
Same amount of time as Raw, and they dropped over half
they're
of their...
competing, though.
What's Raw's third hour, though?
Raw's third hour is... It's still up. Corny did it. He did look it up
he do it?
At one point, and I think it was still at 1 million. Now, granted, it started out at like 2 million, but when you figure there's that many people...
Plus, it's
But what are your highest rated television shows besides wrestling? And you look at their breakdowns now, they're probably
honest. I'm not sure.
Not even that. Like
it's not MASH anymore.
People watching terrestrial even 300,000 people. That's not as good as it used to be. It's not 1 million people, but they start close to 1 million. But I can't even imagine Law and Order or things like that get 1 million people anymore.
I don't know what the kids are watching on the TV these days.
And I don't know how they even do it anymore, because I used to have a Nielsen box on my satellite, and you had to write all that stuff down. It didn't just keep track. And
Did they send you an envelope with $1 in it?
Yes.
Did you keep the $1 and just throw the paperwork away?
Yes. I never sent them anything.
No.
I never gave them the book or... I'll be in Nielsen home, and I was like, I watch wrestling and baseball. Here you go.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. And then when the Bears are on, I watch the Bears.
I think at the time I was watching Community and Supernatural, baseball and wrestling.
I think the last weekly TV show I watched regularly was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But then before that, it was maybe Parks and Rec. Maybe it was. I'm never home on Saturdays. I used to watch SNL every week, but I'm never home on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think AEW is competition. They're different enough that they aren't. They're still drawing well, as far as I can tell. I don't know what the hard cam side looks like. But I don't know what the hard cam side looks like at WWE shows either. I know for a while they were seat filling again before Triple H took over.
Last year, I went to a Raw and I was sitting on the side of the hard cam, and it was not full. It wasn't empty, but it was a lot of empty spots because that's where they put the mixers and the tech crew and all that stuff. So there's a lot of open spaces there. Yeah. All right, so. Let's move on, shall we? Because we have some more business to tend to. We did, I don't know if you caught the JTR Mania on Friday, Gary, on the YouTube. If you didn't, just say yes.
No, yes.
No.
Yes, of course I did.
But we inducted 3 new members to the JTR Hall of Fame, Gary. Bobby Heenan, Randy Savage, and the Dudley Boys.
I thought Savage was already in.
Between the 3. Savage wasn't already in yet. If he's good enough to be in twice, if that is the case. I'll put Savage in twice before I put Hogan in. That's fine with me.
It's also Yeah. I'd put Macho
I'll tell you
King
who's not
and
going in.
then Randy Savage.
I'll tell you who's not going into the JTR Hall of Fame is CMC, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, jeez. We'll discuss that tomorrow.
Kid. Yeah, we got some business tomorrow to talk about. But even though we did 3 inductees on Friday, it is Tuesday, so we have to do another one. So we are going to throw it to, what did I get here? That's so fancy.
Yep.
All right, so here we have the JTR Hall of Fame one more time, and I think we're going to get some mileage out of this one this week, Gary, because I know he's one of your favorites. Wake up!
I'm up.
I'm gonna arrange it. I'm gonna arrange it so Amy sprays you with a water bottle, like off camera, when you start nodding off. All right, so our inductee this week is a former world heavyweight champion, a former world tag team champion, former Olympian, and former bodyguard to the Shah of Iran.
There he is.
There he is.
Cheeky,
the
baby.
Iron Sheik,
Cheeky baby.
Khosrow Vaziri himself. Obviously, as a child, you hated him because he was the evil foreigner. But
fell in love with heels because of Sheiky.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody loves Sheiky these days, even though he's lost his damn mind.
Because he hates Hogan.
He does hate Hogan. My favorite thing is, you remember all the times he would talk about. Remember, he also talked about breaking B. Brian Blair's back and making him humble, and all the other things he would do to him. Later on, it was real. He was wrong, and he was actually trying to talk about jumping Jim Brunzell, but he got them mixed up.
Well,
so for 30 years, he was wishing death and rectal discomfort on Brian Blair, but he was actually referring to Jim Brunzell the whole time.
Well, bees are hard.
That's true. So is Sheiky.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this guy.
I love Sheiky.
That's, I think, when he was the Mid-Atlantic champion before in the NWA, before he went back to WWF. But the mustache is gorgeous. This is the mustache Vince should aspire to. This is the Iron Sheik's mustache.
It would be perfect.
And I'm trying to think if anybody today is worthy to wear the curly-toed boots of an Iron Sheik.
No.
It's great heel work because, they're loaded.
Right. No.
Yeah. So he had a good run in the NWA. He was World Tag Champion with... No, he was in Gene Anderson's faction. He was the heavyweight champion. Then Snuka and Ray Stevens, I think, were tag champs in the same group. But after he went there, he went to, Mid-South. There you see him doing the Persian clubs, which is a feat in and of itself. Those things look heavy as hell.
Mm-hmm. Not as bad as the iron pipe that Riho brings to the ring. Sorry.
Yeah. We're not talking about, how dare you mention Riho when we're talking about the Iron Sheik.
I know. I feel bad now.
Shame, Minderz, shame.
I know.
Look at that guy. Pay no attention to the bulge. Just look at the clubs. And he's doing this with his headdress on, which is impressive. And then, so after his brief run in Mid-South, here's where we all fell in love with Sheiky. 1983. This is after he beat Bob Backlund for the world title. Got Ayatollah Blassie right there with him.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody's mother. Blassie, that is. I love Blassie, but
wait a minute.
You kids come in here and you get some milk and cookies. They're fresh.
Come get some juice, you pencil neck geek.
They won't be as good later.
Oh man, Blassie was so good. And so yeah, unfortunately, this only lasted about a month. It pains me that he only held the title for that short of a time. Dwayne, shame on you. Never a fan. How dare you? But then we move on here, and this is the night that Hulk Hogan cheated to beat him for the heavyweight championship.
It's a beautiful picture, though. That's a
great picture. Breaking his back, making him humble.
Making him humble.
So Sheik always told a story, which I think got proven to be bullshit nowadays, where Vern Gagne supposedly offered him $100,000 in the AWA title to break Hogan's leg in the Garden that night and walk off with the belt. But I think that's been proven to be false. I think maybe Sheiky was telling some tall tales.
Not Sheiky.
Thought, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Hogan did screw the AWA over pretty hard. So, and Vern.
Yeah.
Vern
now,
wasn't.
To be fair, Hogan thought he was
forgiving.
justified, though. Hogan thought he was justified because I guess Vern wanted to take his Japan money. So that's maybe a case of who's more wrong in that case.
Yeah, that's like pitting like the Grinch versus like Vince McMahon. Like who's more of an a-hole?
Well, that's basically the main event of WrestleMania 23 was Trump versus McMahon.
Yeah,
who's a bigger
battle of the? Yeah, it wasn't Battle of the Billionaires. It's who's a bigger a-hole, or who's going to win this match? It doesn't because they're tied at least.
So I've been something has been brought to my attention here. We'll get back to Sheiky here in a second, but apparently my cat is not a fan of the podcast. You can see she's trying to swipe away from it. Oh, pretty. Now that's not the kayfabe kitty Noodles Redman. That is Pretty Redman, who's the older, sometimes brattier one. You can probably hear the wife laughing in the background. So back to Sheiky after he lost the after he lost the belt, then into his greatest work, Gary. Keeping you awake here. Look at that. Put him there with the Sarge.
Love it.
Boot camp match is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I put that match over Slaughter's alley fight with Patterson. But sometimes.
Sometimes.
Wife was calling me out on my opinion of the cat. So Slaughter and Sheik go around. They're main eventing the B shows when Hogan's defending the title elsewhere. And probably the hottest feud of 1984, I would say, before Slaughter went and made G.I. Joe and got Hasbro money and got heat with The Office.
Yeah.
So after that, money. Yeah. So then Sheik goes on to team up with, look at that guy, Cesaro. No, that's not Cesaro. That's Nikolai Volkov there. And
that's what I picture whenever AJ says CMC should turn heel.
Oh, the Russian heel, yeah. I'm trying to figure out Blassie's body language here. He looks unsettled by something, and I can't figure out what. Maybe it's the fact that's the outfit his wife gave him.
Maybe. Kind of matches, I guess.
Yeah, but these guys, I mean, I'm not a big fan of throwing together tag teams, but in this case it works because Blassie was managing both of them, so, it makes sense. But it did pay off because...
They were international powers.
They were the Axis of Evil or something like that, according to the Gorilla Monsoon. But it paid off because these guys hold the distinction of having the first title change in WrestleMania history at WrestleMania 1, beating the U.S. Express for the World Championship with a little help from Freddie Blassie's cane.
No.
Even though Freddie insists he didn't have a cane when Mean Gene was interviewing him after the match. What cane? I didn't have no cane. Word for word.
Cane.
And how dare you accuse a man of Mr. Blassie's stature there?
No kidding.
So after the tag run, then the famous traffic stop, Gary, with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They pulled over. Duggan had a little weed on him, which isn't a big deal, but Sheiky had some cocaine.
Protect the business.
Yeah, so Vince fired them both.
Should have. If Duggan would have protected the business that night and just lied and said it was all Sheiky's because he was the heel.
Uh-huh. He could have said just as easily, "Hey, I didn't want to drive this guy, but I'm supposed to fight him, and he didn't have a ride, so I want to make sure he got to the building." That's how you get around it. And when the cop is coming up, just start arguing and yelling and cussing each other out in the car.
Yeah.
It's not hard. We can do this.
Get out of the car and start bumping in the ditch, and then lose your contraband while you're bumping.
Oh no, my cocaine flew away, Bubba. I think there's a story Michael Hayes told about Sheik having some cocaine in the car when they were in Georgia, because I'm sure it was all Sheikies.
You know, if Michael Hayes is telling a story about cocaine or cocaine accessories, I'm sure he's probably has a few of those, and they're not all Sheikies.
No.
I've seen the Freebirds, Mark.
Yeah.
I've watched them work.
Not for nothing, you popped me with cocaine and cocaine accessories.
Yeah.
I tell you what. But as you know, Vince is a very forgiving and benevolent man. So
ask Rocky Johnson.
Well, I can't.
Well, you can't.
He is. But 1990, who's that colonel on the right side of the picture there? With his hated enemy Sergeant Slaughter, but this time they're Iraqi sympathizers.
Yeah.
Because that happens.
That happens.
This was right at the tail end of Sheiky's career. He wasn't moving around all that great at this point. You can see he's got kind of the paunch going there on his belly willy. Adnan looks insane in this picture.
Who was Adnan though? Like
Adnan El Casey. He was an AWA guy. But he was also this, and you'll get a kick out of this. He was a childhood friend of Saddam Hussein.
What?
Like, shoot, he was actually from Iraq.
Well, there you go.
Huh?
That's the first time Vince McMahon has ever correctly racially profiled anybody.
Yes. I mean, for God's sake, Volkov is Yugoslavian. He's not even Russian.
Usually Vince is just a general, bigot.
No, come on. Now, that's going to get us sued. I'm not going to stand for that. I'm going to say headline, Vasilio calls McMahon bigot on podcast.
I mean,
so number one is going to get us a lot more listeners, but then it's also going to get us sued.
We can start naming.
No.
All the gimmicks.
No.
Yeah, all the gimmicks, yeah.
The less said, the better with some of those gimmicks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, let's let Saba Simba rest in peace.
Oh my god!
But Sheiky had one more moment of glory, Gary.
Yay!
The gimmick battle royal at the greatest WrestleMania of all time. The story is he didn't lose. He won the match because he could not take a bump.
Yeah.
He never left his feet the entire match.
Hey, Sergeant Slaughter took him out at the end with the Cobra Clutch.
Yep. And then, of course, 4 years later, the Sheik would give the greatest Hall of Fame acceptance speech in the history of Hall of Fame acceptance speeches. Just for its incoherent madness.
I was going to say, because we can understand a word.
I love the Heenan speech. I love the Bob Uecker speech. Sheiky's was just a rambling celebration of a raving lunatic.
As long as Hillbilly Jim's isn't up there for you, because his went way too long.
Oh, boy. I think that one's still going on somewhere.
Somewhere. I love you, AJ.
Hey, Hillbilly Jim has a show on Sirius XM where he plays country music.
Really? That doesn't
my
surprise
dad found
me
it.
one
Told me
bit.
about it.
I was saying, it doesn't surprise me one bit.
That's a guy I wish was at the expo. I would love to meet Hillbilly Jim someday.
Oh, I would too.
The great Harley Davidson of Memphis fame. But yeah, I think that's a suitable inductee into the Hall of Fame was the great Iron Sheik. So his plaque is in the mail. And as we're going, we got, I think, just enough time to do our next little order of business. And Gary, I didn't tell you what the topic is, but one of these days we got to make sure Devontae listens to this because I want to know if that's Devontae Knox's entrance music that I'm using on this because it was in the public domain, so I'm not going to cost any money to do it, but it sounds like Devontae Knox's entrance music.
Not quite.
For 01
Not
USA.
Quite. Not quite.
All right. So it is time for Top 10 Tuesday. It's right there. And our topic, Gary, because we did this on the last episode, we did worst WCW gimmicks from 1990 to 1992, I think it was, or 93?
93, I think you did.
93.
With 90, now we're 94 to...
Now we're going 95 to 98.
Oh.
And there's a lot to choose from. I could have done this with just 3 people and had a list of 20.
Right?
Because they recycled a lot of people with a lot of gimmicks. You could have just for example, somebody I didn't go with Ray Traylor, although I could have gone with the Boss. Remember the Boss when he was basically wearing the cop uniform, but he wasn't the big boss man.
The Black Top Bully.
The Guardian Angel was the white T-shirt and the red beret, and then he was also, of course, Big Bubba. I like Big Bubba though, so that's on the list. So we'll start with number 10. Just because it just seemed cheesy to me. Wrath and Mortis. I had to put them both because they were a package deal there with the great sinister minister James Vandenberg there. Father James Mitchell is their manager. Although he looks like the bass player from Restless Heart in this picture. For any country music fans.
Or,
he does.
Or Parker Stevenson.
Wow.
That's a call.
Way to get a hold of the kids, Gary. The kids love the Parker Stevenson references.
Well,
I don't mind. It's not much better.
Mister, though.
So Wrath, of course, is Brian Clark, Adam Baum, whatever you want to call him. Mortis is the great Chris Kanyon. So this is another case of good workers with really shitty gimmicks.
Yes.
And
well, it was the Mortal Kombat phase. So.
It was the Mortal Kombat because it went with the Cat and with Glacier and all those guys. AJ, you know what? You said this. I almost did this. I almost just put the Dungeon of Doom in one spot for all the people that were there. So yeah, you're not far off, buddy. But yeah, I think these guys only wrestled Glacier and the Cat.
They would wrestle every once in a while. Other people, Diamond DDP would wrestle Mortis.
Of course he did. They were buddies.
Yeah. But
how else is he going to learn how to do the Canyon Cutter, Gary?
Well, I don't know who better.
Positively Canyon not on this list because he didn't fit the time frame. But some of the best work ever was just him running and randomly hitting people with the diamond cut.
Listen, yes, like. Him just diamond cutting people in parking lots and on concrete and then just running away was the only thing that was even close to that was the time Shawn Michaels got mad and just started super kicking everybody in the hallway.
Yep. Sean Spears was one of them.
But besides that, it was just genius to have Canyon just diamond cutting people for no reason. Like cameramen or just people carrying donuts. It didn't matter. Right. It was just
Mike Tenay, I think, got one.
Yeah, you're getting a cutter. Like, just
you a face bump kid? Sure. All right.
He was the Oprah Winfrey of diamond cutters. Just you get a cutter. You get a cutter.
I'll throw another one up there, Gary. Jeff Jarrett, toward the end of his WWF run, when he was feuding with China, when he would just every week would put another woman in the figure 4 leg lock.
Yeah,
they would get a kabong and a figure 4 every week, like clockwork. Even Mae Young and Moolah.
She was tough, though.
Mae was a tough broad. That's Bully Ray.
Yeah. If you didn't hit her like one of the boys, she was pissed.
Yep, that was Bully's story. She said, "Next time you slam me like one of the boys."
Yeah.
So then he power bombed her off a stage through a tape. And if I know Mae, she loved every minute of it.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right, so Mortis and Wrath. There's not much to say just because I like the guys outside of the characters so much, so I'm not going to get too far into it. We kind of covered all there is to say about them. Number 9, Gerald. One of the many faces of Barry Darso, the Blacktop Bully. The guy that got Dustin Rhodes fired.
Was it really?
Yeah, the King of the Road match at Uncensored
Oh
95.
God.
When they were fighting in the back of the truck. They weren't supposed to get color, but they both did. So they both got fired. And Mike Graham got fired because he was the agent for the match and the driver of the truck, by the way. But yeah, poor Darso. I mean, Crusher Khrushchev, I'll give you. That's a good gimmick when he was the angry Russian. Actually, he was American, but a Russian sympathizer because he never used an accent. Then, Crusher Khrushchev and Smash, fantastic. Repo Man, not so much. Hole in One Barry Darso, not so much.
Oh,
We had
that was
discussion earlier.
that was genius. I used to watch Saturday when WCW was going down in flames. The only thing I enjoyed was Saturday night, was because you always had like you might catch a Wild El Dandy sighting, and Barry Darso would be on there for some reason, like putting.
John Nord
showed up, like
John Nord, the Barbarian.
The Beverly Brothers showed up, but not the Beverly Brothers. Like, and so like you had all these and then you always had a pretty decent main. Like the main was always pretty good.
It was always like Booker T against somebody, or Benoit,
what Saturday Night was good for. During the Super Kick Wars, it was the best time. You don't remember the Super Kick Wars?
Stevie Richards, Chris Adams, and Glacier.
Yes.
Just going, and they all three were feuding at the same time. And Perry Saturn. All at the same time because they were all using a version of the Super Kick.
And Perry Saturn just would, at the end, it's just a standing sidekick. That was Perry Saturn's entire input into the entire thing.
Yeah. Oh, Perry.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
See, that's why I miss WCW.
We all miss WCW. It's pre-shit stain. Before Russo got his hands on it.
Pre-shit stain.
All right, number 8. AJ kind of alluded to the Dungeon of Doom. The first of, more than one member of the Dungeon of Doom here. The great John Tenta, Earthquake to some of you, when he was the Shark. Look at that guy.
Yep.
Never the picture of handsome features and chiseled good looks or anything, not an Adonis by any means. Adrian Adonis maybe, but never really changed outside of just the face paint. Because when he came in, he was the Avalanche, if you'll remember. Yep. Because he couldn't be Earthquake, but they had to just pick another natural disaster to name him after, and he was with Sullivan. And then when the hang on, I need help with this one, Minderz. Austin Ryan's real father? Is that Tenta?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you. And so they when the Dungeon of Doom started, they just made him into a shark for some reason, a man-eater, and he would bite people, and it was bad.
It was terrible.
The less said about the shark, the better. I love John Tenta. I love Earthquake.
Oh yeah.
But the shark was awful. This is almost as bad as when, and I'll see if you remember this, Gary, when Roddy Piper brought his own team for whatever this 4-on-4 match was, and it was like Earthquake, a guy in a kilt, and I forget who else. Just random like enhancement guys, but one of them was Earthquake. And then the Horsemen beat them all up, and then they teamed up with Piper instead. That was just bad. And I felt bad for Tenta watching that.
Well, he ended up as Golga, right?
Yeah, he was Golga after that, yeah. Mm-hmm. With the hump, so he couldn't be pinned.
Yep.
That was Russo's brilliant booking idea. Hey, bro, we're going to put you in a hump.
Thanks, Shitstain. Appreciate it.
All right. So moving on from John Tenta, another guy that found his way into the Dungeon of Doom, but the version I have here is when he was Diamond Dallas Page's personal trainer in the mid-90s. Max Muscle. Remember this guy, Gary?
No, I don't.
He was literally, all he did was second Page. He was like his personal trainer, but he was with the Diamond Doll and feuding with Dave Sullivan.
Oh, yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, and then eventually he just became Max with 2 X's and joined the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
And I think he
That
was
was
in the
cool.
Natural Born Thrillers too, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. He looks kind of like Reno, but I don't think it's Reno.
Hey, if you're not in Techno Team 2000 or High Voltage, I don't know you. So
I won't lie. I almost had High Voltage on this list, but they did not make the cut.
you didn't. You put Techno Team 2000 on there though?
No, they're WWF.
No, were they?
Yeah.
You sure? Well,
I'm quite sure.
Wait, no, it was Eric Watts that was the time traveler in WCW, right?
No, that was the New Breed. That was in the 80s.
No. Eric Watts came in as for a short time as a time traveler. I swear to God.
I don't know. We're gonna have to check that.
Hold
I
on,
don't
I'm
remember
looking.
that.
You guys keep going.
Minderz is on the case. All right, number 6, Gerald. We talked about Wrath and Mortis, so we have to mention this guy. Blood runs cold.
I hate Glacier.
The only thing good about Glacier was his armor being sold to Kaz Hayashi.
Yes, Kaz Hayashi. I love that guy.
Sonny Ono bought it on discount.
Yes. Dwayne asks, was Disco Inferno during this time? Yes, he was, but he is not on this list, Dwayne. I'm not a big fan of Disco, but he was over, so I didn't put him on the list. Glacier just couldn't get over. His push was as cold as his character.
Techno Team 2000 was Troy.
Yeah, but that was WWF, though.
That was WWF.
Yeah. Because they were lumberjacks during the Sid Diesel match and In Your House. That's, I think, the only time they were on pay-per-view.
Yeah, nothing else on here. When he returned to WCW, he was 98 and 99. He lost a match against Disco Inferno, speaking of. Yeah, I don't see... Yeah, I don't see anything else.
Aha, okay. Well, back to Glacier, and yeah, AJ, yeah, you said it a mouthful there. They spent all that money and time on Glacier just for him to not get over it all. Yeah.
He did not.
Flatter than a plate full of piss, as a great man once said.
Yep.
But the entrance was cool. I like the entrance with the snow and the lights and everything. But then the bell rang.
It was definitely the Mortal Kombat phase.
Yes, absolutely. He was their Sub-Zero.
Yes. He definitely was.
Now, doesn't he train at the Nightmare Factory now, working with the young talent?
Probably.
I think so.
Ray.
All right.
Coach Buzz Stern.
Yeah. All right. Number 5 here, Gary. Speaking of guys named Dwayne. I could only put one sergeant on here, so Craig Pitbull Pittman didn't make the cut. So I went with Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker here at number 5. Probably his greatest contribution was running the power plant, toward the end of WCW, training Goldberg.
Yeah.
No,
so we can blame him for that.
We'll blame him. Cool.
But yeah, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, when he was like a border patrol officer in like the early 90s or something, it was some ridiculous story. But he just kept the gimmick for years, and I think in 2000 he finally wrestled under his real name in WCW, who's Dwayne Bruce, I think is his real name. And he teamed up with Goldberg against Lex Luger and Buff Bagwell in a tag match. And
yikes!
And if I remember right, I think in a Russo-esque swerve, he wound up turning on Goldberg because WCW 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was just looking here at some of the pictures that they had of Eric Watts. This is interesting.
Yeah. All right. So number 4, I had an issue with because, picking the guy was easy, but I couldn't decide on which gimmick to bestow this high honor on. So I thought, hell with it. I'll just do them all. The many faces of Ed Leslie is at number 4. There you see him. You got the Zodiac on the left, the Booty Man in the middle, the Disciple on the right. And there's not even room
Yikes.
for the Butcher in this picture, which was
No.
after Brother Brudai turned on Hogan, he became the Butcher.
Yep.
Oh, the Discable.
But the Zodiac was Hogan's mole in the Dungeon of Doom, if you'll remember.
Yep.
Like he was the spy. And then after he was found out, he came back as the Booty Man with the Diamond Doll, or I'm sorry, the Booty Babe, as
The
she was
Booty
called,
Babe
Kimberly Page.
with the cutout butt cheeks.
Uh-huh. But less said about that, the better. And then after that run was over, he came back to ride the coattails of one Hollywood Hulk Hogan, because there's nobody better at that than Brutus Beefcake. And he put on a leather vest and Hogan's headband and learned how to do a stunner, and that was his his milieu in the later years of his career.
Yeah.
It's I think I've summed up
I used
nicely.
to love Brutus, but
I didn't mind him in WWF when he was
I
Brutus
didn't
the
either.
Barber, but
I
just
loved him as the barber.
these gimmicks here
Are
are not
terrible.
worthy. These
No.
are a disservice to Ed Leslie's career.
They're
It's a
terrible.
pox on the wrestling business in 1995 through 98.
Yeah.
Because this covers all the years, 95, 96, 98. So there you go.
This
He
is
took a
many-
year off 97 to grow the beard out.
Could also be known the many faces of the man who should have saved his money better.
Yes. Hey,
Yeah.
he's going to be at the expo, so I gotta talk a little nice about him.
I'm sure he will be.
I don't think he can cut my hair. I'll keep my beard away from him, though.
No, last thing I heard about him was years and years ago when he got fired from being like a toll booth operator or a booth operator in a subway because somebody thought they thought they saw anthrax, and it was just his cocaine
Oh.
that he had on the table doing.
Oh.
And somebody walked by in the middle of an anthrax scare, and he got fired. So
Well, he's always taking bumps, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brutus.
Gosh.
The hard times, they come, I suppose. All right, number 3 here. This is one of my favorite bad gimmicks. Roadblock. Remember this guy?
Yeah.
I don't remember Roadblock.
He wasn't
was
there
a-
very long. He was basically a job guy.
Super jobber.
You know, I had if there was a bit when I was just reading the magazines for ECW before I actually could get the shows, where I thought this was Balls Mahoney, but I was mistaken. You kind of see it though.
I could see that.
But yeah, he just wore road signs, and his job was basically to get put in the torture rack every other week by Luger.
Okay.
Because that was like a display of Luger's power. You know, he's a big guy, 350 or so.
Why didn't you put the dead end picture up?
I tried, it wouldn't let me.
Oh, okay.
He was basically like Goldberg's Jerry Flynn was Roadblock to Lex Luger.
That's a good call.
Gotcha.
If I do 99 to 2001, Jerry Flynn will be there.
I remember seeing him, and we used to get all the UFC tape, like the early ones where they were still they were punching each other in the testicles, literally.
Oh yeah, it was just cockfighting.
Yeah, and Jerry
Literally.
Flynn was in one of those, in one of the early like cage fights. So he was like a legitimate, I guess, legitimate fighter. He didn't ever win.
Yeah, he's a legit karate guy.
Yeah.
But it did not translate to wrestling glory, I suppose.
No.
I guess not.
All right. Number 2 was only there for one night, but oh, what a marvelous night it was.
The
The Yeti, as Tony Schiavone calls him.
I never understood them being called the Yeti when he was dressed like a mummy.
He was a mummy. You want a Yeti, you got to have an abominable snowman.
And as far as I know, like the mummy is not a trademarked anything. I don't think you can trademark that. So why not call him the mummy? Why do you call him the Yeti? The Yeti is a hairy Himalayan Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That is not a hairy Himalayan Bigfoot.
That is a mummy.
Not at all. That is a mummy.
If you need more proof to the why Yeti only lasted one night, one of
Yeah.
the more uncomfortable looking sights in the history of professional wrestling when the Giant and the Yeti were gangbanging the Hulkster in the middle of the ring. Wow, Lex
Well,
Luger and Jimmy Hart are attacking the Macho Man in the background, if you can tell.
well, what you gonna do, brother?
more like, who you gonna do, brother? All
Who
right.
are you gonna do, brother?
Hey, whatever floats your boat and get you to take your vitamins.
I guess so.
I guess it's just
Now, of course, the Yeti was Ron Reese, who wound up being a member of the flock for Raven in the later years.
who was
He was
just
the
a phenomenal
there for
worker.
Goldberg. Yeah, he was there to get jackhammered by Goldberg to
Yeah.
show how strong he was. And then after that, he's out. I think he's still alive, but he's out of the business. But
I'm on it. This is what you have. This is what you keep me around for, isn't it?
Minderz is our fact checker, and she's taking to it like a fish to water. Should I wait for number one till you're ready?
He is still alive.
Oh, all right.
In fact,
Not
he's
it.
only 52 years old.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that old. He was.
But he's 7'2".
Yeah.
He's a big dude. He just never.
400 some odd pounds.
Build weight was 365.
Oh, I think he was heavier than that.
Well, I'm
He's a big
taking it
dude.
from Wikipedia, so it can't be wrong.
That's true. That's true.
That's fact checked.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for our number one?
Yes.
There can only be one for this auspicious position.
Do I get to see him this weekend?
No, you will not. This
It's not who I thought it was. Never mind.
Sadly, our number one is no longer with us. He passed away several years ago.
Yeah, he was. He was the
Never
dollar.
stood a chance.
He was the Dollar Tree Ultimate Warrior.
I was gonna say he's the Wish.com Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, that was Hogan. Hogan brought him in specifically to be like the Warrior.
He is literally the discount wolf. And to be utterly fair, he was a better worker in every single way than the Ultimate Warrior. Like if you had demonstrable, like just calculable, just you could take his skill set and put them side by side, he would have made like the Warrior. He was basically like Harley Race compared to the Ultimate Warrior. Like
he was Jack Briscoe compared to the Ultimate Warrior.
I know, but we're comparing him to the Ultimate Warrior. Come on now.
Yeah,
Dwayne, I know you asked about the Renegade, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to make sure you didn't spoil it.
Yeah, this wasn't who I thought you were going to pick, but I
all right, I gotta ask.
You weren't.
I've got to ask. Who did you think I was?
Oh, the one you have
Minderz?
the helmet for, babe.
Oh, the Shockmaster.
The Shockmaster.
I can't disrespect the Shock. Hasn't he been through enough?
Not yet.
I'm trying to decide if I'll get in trouble with the rental car people if I have a glittery Stormtrooper helmet in the back of the car this weekend.
Put it in a bag.
I may do that. It may be in a bag. So we talked about this during the Heather Owens episode, the Shockmaster costume and the promo being the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it. I've got it figured out. I've got the promo recorded on my phone.
So you're gonna stick I can't wait.
if I can send that to Heather, she can play it over the microphone.
There you go.
And I'll be in good shape.
There you go.
But I'm gonna have to bust out the Shockmaster on the caveat, Minderz. You do not trip me. Do not make me fall down.
Okay, I won't intentionally.
Yeah, now Barry's gonna do it.
Yeah, I'll let Barry do it.
Right.
Remember, you can't take us anywhere.
This is very true. Well, so before we say goodbye, because we're coming right up on the 2 hours, so I think we did a pretty good job of being pretty organized, all things considered. We're going to pay some bills real quick here. So ProWrestlingTees.com/JTR Pod for all your Jumping the Rail Podcast Network t-shirt needs, mostly. Here we see the new Gary Says It's a Work t-shirt, because he always does.
Yep.
So at some point, Gary,
mostly AEW stuff. But.
Yeah. About a guy named Phil.
Yeah.
Then you got some other stuff here. and we're always adding new shirts here and there. So
Yep, we sure are.
there's something for everybody at
Uh-huh.
ProWrestlingTees.com. There's our I Heart series.
I have 3 of the 4 of those.
Yeah. And then we got some of the stuff for the 0-1 shootout here.
All of those.
Yep.
I don't have all those. I have 2 of those.
No. So that's all on JTR, ProWrestlingTees.com/JTR Pod, BrainbusterTees.com/others/JTR-podcast-network. We got some more stuff. Not just T-shirts though. We have hoodies. We have fanny packs. We have stickers. We have hats. Baseball shirts, T-shirts. So all kinds of good stuff. Plus, we showed the on the 0-1 shootout stuff that we got made professionally. That is one of our more popular designs nowadays, which is the Giddy Mindy and the cartoon logo stuff. You got the stickers next to you, Minderz?
I do.
Can you hold those up so the people can see it? Because I don't have those loaded up on this screen. There you see it. There's Giddy Mindy, and then our official new logo is the other one there with just the heads on it. Maybe we'll see if we can whip one up for the jumping the rail with Gary's head on there too.
There you go.
Yep. We still haven't done Cringy Mindy yet, but
we haven't. But we'll have to call our professional person and find out if they can do a cringy Mindy.
Sure.
Yeah. Just like always, I can't say it.
Yeah, it's like a tongue twister for you.
It is.
Yes. All right. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap things up. So, Gary, you got anything you want to add?
Just like I'm weighing whether to just retire once Punk comes back, and I was right because it's on the way. Or if I need to like stay around as a prolonged victory lap. Because if anybody knows how long I have been spouting this, like since it first happened, I told Mark when it first happened. What did I tell you, Mark?
It's a work.
It's a work. and everybody else was like, this isn't a work. I'm like, oh no, this is a work.
No, Tony doesn't work, brother. I'll tell you what, if Punk does come back, I'm going to make a new Gary Says shirt, and on the back it will say, I told you so. Minderz.
But it's a Gary Says it's a work. I told you so.
Yeah, there you go. Minderz, we got another show coming up tomorrow. 0-1 Shootout, live at 5:00 p.m. Central Standard Time with our guest, Eli Wilder.
I got my Wilder shirt all ready for tomorrow.
He's going to make it a wild episode because he is wilder than you, Minderz.
He is wilder than me.
And he's got a big match to talk about on Thursday, tag match.
We have a lot of stuff to talk about Thursday, and I'm sure you and I are going to get in a couple bickering fights. So.
We may. There may be some bickering here and there. But, so join us on the JTR Podcast Network YouTube link for that one. I'll post the links for those on this YouTube and Facebook page here, so have to make sure you check about that.
Oh, bless your heart, Dwayne.
Oh, Dwayne. Gary, he's putting holes in your theory. If Punk comes back, it's just B that they made it. Could, yeah. Well.
No.
Oh, just no. I like it. All right. Well, I think this is a good time to put a stop to this episode. So, say goodbye, Gary.
Goodbye, Gary.
Say bye-bye, Minderz.
Bye-bye, Minderz.
All right, and this is Reb reminding everybody, life is hard, work stiff, and we will see you in 2 weeks.